Joining me with what's next and the impact of the president's actions on immigration in the San Diego region are my guest, immigration attorney Lilia Velasquez and Todd Garcia Van Boxtel with the Latino American Political Association. Welcome to Evening Edition.
Good to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Now, Lilia, the president's executive action temporarily blocks deportation of about 5 million people living in the U.S., and of those, about 1.5 million in California, I understand, could be impacted by this. When does the president's actions go into effect, and who's eligible?
Well, we don't know yet when the application period will begin. We have been told that it's going to take about 180 days, which is 6 months. For the expansion of DACA for the Dreamers, that can come as soon as 90 days. But who's eligible are parents who have U.S. citizen children who are either U.S. citizen children or children who are permanent residents, regardless of age. It does not cover the parents of the Dreamers who already received deferred action. So there was a lot of disappointment that those parents were left out.
Yeah, and that brings me up to some of the concerns you're hearing here in the San Diego region and questions you're getting in regards to this. There was some concern over that. What other concerns are you hearing?
The concerns is, if my husband was removed, was deported, had a voluntary departure within the last 5 years, is it safe for me to apply? Am I going to be surrendering him? If I committed a minor violation, is that going to disqualify me? Well, what are the documents that we need to present to demonstrate this physical presence since January 1st of 2014? So there are a lot of practical questions in terms of, are they eligible? Is it safe to apply? What's going to happen after the 3 years?
Okay, and I want to get to Todd on this one. President Reagan, President Bush, other presidents have used executive actions to deal with immigration issues, but some Republicans are vocally opposed to this. In fact, today, Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio filed a lawsuit over it, which seems to be getting some press. What is your reaction to Obama's use of executive action on immigration?
Well, in my sense, I'm quite disappointed, actually, that he did this unilaterally. I mean, and just 2 weeks ago, he said he looked forward to working with the new Congress, and I'm not exactly sure what changed in the last 2 weeks because the new Congress isn't even seated yet. And I think what's disappointing is I think this actually makes a comprehensive reform bill harder to happen. I think that I'm afraid that the Senate bill is probably dead because there's no incentive now for the Republicans to do an all-encompassing bill because, yes, what the president did last night takes care of a lot of concerns and the concern of separating families. So if that's handled, then why, now Republicans can go piece by piece, and maybe that's not exactly the best way to go.
And let me follow up with that with both of you. I'll start with you, Todd. So the Senate bill that President Obama clearly said, pass a bill if you don't like this. It's been out for a year and a half, and the Republicans haven't done anything. I shouldn't say the Republicans, Congress hasn't done anything about it. So where could it go forward from here with following this action?
Right. It's unfortunate because, yes, what we've learned, and I think the election was part of that, is that there's lots of bills that sat in Congress, both on the House side and in the Senate, that went nowhere. And I think that's why the voters wanted a change, to say, hey, we got to do something. There's lots of problems that we need addressed. And so we do that. Unfortunately, I guess this problem couldn't wait another month or so for the new Congress to be seated. And I kind of question if it was so important to do in this flux time between the new Congress and now, why didn't he do it 3 months ago or 3 years ago or 6 years ago?
And that's something that's being discussed. Lilia, let me follow up with this for you. So if this is temporary action, what do you think needs to be done to address immigration reform permanently?
Well, I think that the president has basically given the Congress a framework from which to work with. He cannot pass legislation. This is only a policy. It's a temporary policy. He wanted to do it as soon as possible and before, obviously, the Congress is seated in January. But the Congress has refused to act. And the question that we ask is, how long is reasonable enough? How much time do we give the Congress to do its job?
I'm sure we will find this out in January, and unfortunately we are out of time. So Lilia Velasquez and Todd Garcia Van Boxtel, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.